Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about three cases that I haven't spoken about for a while. So, of course, I've been, um, we've been looking at the Preston Davy trial, the little baby, 13-month-old Preston. Uh, Probably anyway, the trial is going on of his adoptive dads, and we've got a break in that trial. It's not back till Monday, so there'll be nothing today. So it's given me a little bit of free time to talk about some of the other cases, that we've been looking at, namely the case of Anna Kepner, who's the young girl who was MURE, red rummed on the cruise ship over in America, there, Florida. We're going to have a little chat about Nancy Guthrie, that we haven't, we're going to have a look at any updates in that case. That's the lady, the 84-year-old lady, just disappeared in a puff of smoke from her home. We're going to have a little chat about that. And first of all, we're going to chat about John George, the murder of John George, which some of you will know about. You'll remember it. I've been covering it for a long time because this murder happened quite a long time ago. I'm going to photo him up in a minute, actually. Oh, where's my photo of him? Oh, I can put him up. I have got a little photo of him. I will put that up. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about first. We're going to talk about the murder of John George and very shocking developments. Oh my God, if Netflix ever takes on that story, they'd have to do it over about 12 episodes, I think. So it's a very dramatic, tragic murder, but not even since the murder. There's been more tragedy. It's just been tragedy after tragedy. All the people involved in this case, bad things have happened to them. And so we're going to talk about that first. So we're going to talk about John George, then Anna Kepner, and then Nancy Guthrie. So I'm going to catch up, and then later I'm going to split this video into three and release them as individual individual chats, crime chats, because that's what I do. I chat about true crime. I want everyone to remember that. I'm not a forensic scientist. I don't pretend to be. I'm not a detective. I'm not any of those things. I chat about true crime because the human condition interests me, and the things that people do and why they do it. And the reason it interests me is from things that have happened to me in my own life. I am a survivor of stalking. I count myself very lucky to be alive from what happened to me years ago. And that's what I think sparked perhaps the interest in true crime, or maybe I already had that interest. And that just, I don't know, confirmed it. But of course, there's something fascinating about true crime. It's sad. It hurts the soul sometimes to talk about it. But it's also important to talk about it. Some psychologists think that people are interested in it, especially women, because it's almost like a self-protection, to see things that could happen to people, to protect yourself. You certainly think differently when you followed a few cases because, at the end of the day, reality is stranger than fiction. And you go off all the fantasy sort of crime programs and things because they're just not realistic. True crime is much more riveting, I suppose. And I think that is like a self-protection mechanism for a lot of people. It might be a macabre interest, you can describe it how you want, but lots of people are interested in true crime. And that has always been the case. It's amplified now, of course, with social media, etc., and YouTube and TikTok and you name it. But years ago, before there was even anything, people were reading the Penny Dreadfuls, People got to know about Jack the Ripper, even though there was not even any television in those days. You know, people have always been sort of almost morbidly fascinated with true crime, etc. Always, it's always been the case. It's just amplified now because it's easier to get information now. That's all. But anyway, so before I start talking about that, I want to say my thank yous to everyone. Please leave your DNA on my subscribe button. Please leave your fingerprint on my like button. Share the video. Those are all free ways you can help my channel if you want to. If you like my channel, please do that. It really helps me out. And thank you to those of you who've already done so. And then, of course, some of you go that extra mile. You've joined my channel, you're members. Thank you so much for that. Every fortnight we have a members live on a Thursday. The next one is next Thursday, where we talk about anything. Could be anything, literally, not only true crime, all sorts of things. There's so many things I want to talk about. I like to chat, as you may have gathered, so we'll be chatting about something. Special thank you to those of you who have bought Ko-fis, who are contributing towards my new computer. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to point out some of the merchandise on my Ko-fi page, which I think I'll just put up. Yeah, on my Ko-fi page. This is my Ko-fi. And the shop is on there. You can buy merchandise on there. Thank you to everyone who already has. I just want to show you a couple of the things. So this is one of the mugs. This is Vicky Marie and a cup of tea mug. But you know what? You can really pick your own message. I can put you a personal message on it. I can put you any photo you want on there. You know, I literally can personalize these things. This is the I'm not in the mood for twonks today mug that I'm drinking out of today. This is the black one, but it comes in every color you can imagine. And again, I can personalize the message for you. Now, this is new and I haven't had a chance to put it on there yet, but I'll probably do a community post. So if you want to have a bottle of wine with me, this is join me in a what does it say? True crime and a bottle of wine with Vicky Marie chats. And it's this one is red. You can have white as well. It's a Reserva. It's 25 euros, which of course is a lot of money for a bottle of wine, but do you know what, that's the merchandise, that's the prices that you have to charge, but it includes postage, packaging, everything. There's nothing else to pay. It's a Gran Reserva. Anyway, just fun things. I have to remember not to break into this bottle of wine. This is the sample. And it comes with a nice little bag. So if you were giving it as a present, it comes in a nice little bottle bag to give someone, maybe for a Christmas present, birthday present, if they like the channel. Yeah, just something different, isn't it? And today I have arriving samples of the wine glasses that go with it. They haven't arrived yet. They may arrive while I'm in the middle of this video, in which case I will show them to you. What else did I want to talk about? I think that's it, isn't it? Oh, I am going to start doing some necklaces. Because people often comment on my necklaces and people have said, oh, you know, you should sell these necklaces, because they're sort of my trademark in a way. And I am organising that as well. Oh, and T-shirts as well. So there's a few other things coming out of, you know, if you want a T-shirt, you can contact me and you can tell me whatever you want on it, what colour you want, size you want, and I will give you a price. And, you know, because it all depends on my suppliers who I can find, who, you know, who will send it to wherever you are in the world. And you shouldn't feel obliged that if I give you a price and you think, oh, that's too expensive, because of course they're always more expensive. The merchandise is always more expensive than just the t-shirt normally. I won't, it's not you're not obligated to buy one just because you've inquired, but I will end up as soon as I can. I'll put the things up so you know exactly what it is before you inquire. So yeah, t-shirts, wine glasses, and necklaces are coming soon. I think that's where I'm going to go with my merchandise. I don't think you need to do everything, loads and loads of things, but anyway, if there's anything in particular you think you'd be interested in with a Vicky Marie Chats twist, let me know. So, hello, you lovely lurkers. Thank you so much for watching. Hello, replay crew. Thank you so much for watching. And you've all been with me over the Preston Davey trial, which is hard going. I mean, true crime is hard going, but especially little Preston. Thank you for caring about him. And these 3 cases that we're going to talk about today, they're hard going in a different way, I suppose. But I think Preston's case has been probably the most harrowing case I certainly have ever dealt with. So thank you for sticking with me through that. What else? Oh, so let's see who's in the chat. Hey Lily, sorry you can't be here, but you've got an appointment. Hope your appointment goes well. Hi Kelly, yes, I'm having a nice day so far. It is 10:37 here in Spain. It's a little bit humid today. It's breezy, it's not boiling hot. It's a little bit humid, and the humidity is quite difficult sometimes. But yeah, hope you're having a nice day as well. Oh, you can't get the VM emojis up, Kelly. Oh, do you know what? I'm sick of technology. I honestly, the last couple of days, I've been struggling to do something that I normally can do perfectly easily, and I can't do it either. So I don't know if there's some glitches around the world or whatever. Don't know why you can't get the emojis up, which reminds me, I'm going to get my emojis up just in case I need them. Yeah, I don't know why you can't get them, because you're showing as a member there in the chat. So why on earth? I've just no idea why you wouldn't be able to get up the emojis. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, if you remember, you get to use the special members emojis. I'm just going to put some, yeah, I've got them up here on my phone. Let me just put them all up there. Very odd. I don't know, Kelly. Honestly, I wish I could answer your question. But I can't. Oh, God. Technology is great when it works, isn't it? And it is so frustrating when it's not working. Hi, David. Good to see you. Hi, Daniel. Happy Friday. Yeah, Heather quite often mentions the necklaces, doesn't she? David, does that mean you won't be ordering one? You won't be ordering a necklace? For Mrs. David, even? It won't work on the iPad either. Have you tried going out and back again? I mean, it's the answer to everything technological is turn it off and back on again, and quite often it does work, doesn't it? Quite often it does work. So these cases that we've sort of have gone sort of on the back burner a little bit because, of concentrating on Preston's case, which is so important that we give Preston a voice, isn't it? I think the other thing about Preston's case as well is not many other people are covering it, So people are jumping on the bandwagon now, but I say that I'm glad they are, because I want as much attention for Preston's case as possible. That little boy deserves his voice to be heard, and those two, the gruesome twosome that have done whatever they've done to Preston, I want their names and their faces out there, because even if they're found guilty, I'm not sure what sort of sentence they're going to get. So there's a likelihood that at some point they're going to be out and about again in the general population, So just so I want people to see their faces and hear about Preston's story and what these people did to him. So it's good. But of course, that, I am covering it every day that the trial is on. But it's not really on the mainstream media much. There's little bits here and there, but to me it's a massive case, and I know why it's not on the mainstream media. It's unpleasant, to talk about a baby, abuse of a baby, etc. Of course it's unpleasant, but I just wish it was being spoken about more, to be honest. Anyway. So Kelly, you can't remember your password. Oh, this is the problem I'm having at the moment. This is the problem I'm having at the moment with something I can't get into because I can't remember my password, and when I try and reset the password, anyway, it's a long story, but I'm dealing with support at the moment and need bloody support, technical support. These companies then, these big tech companies, they're quite hard to get to talk to a normal person, aren't they? They give you all these options and you say, no, that's not useful. And then all I want to do is phone somebody up and say, look, can you help me with this? What should I do? And you can't do it. Drives me mad. Anyway, I dare say it will get sorted sooner or later. My problem, that is. So. Okay, so we're going to start with the John George case. Now, I've got a picture of John, I think, to put up in the corner. Oh, now a lot of you will remember this case. This is John George. John George, his 30s, late 30s, father of two, came to Spain. So this is really a span, even though John is from Belfast in Northern Ireland. He came to Spain for a few days. He never went home. Well, not alive anyway. And it was a very tragic case because he sort of disappeared completely. He was supposed to go home. He had booked a flight, or had he booked a flight, or had somebody else booked it pretending to be him? A flight was booked, let's say, and John wasn't on that flight. When it arrived in Belfast, he didn't get on the flight. It then ensued for his poor family who came over to Spain from Northern Ireland to search for him. And it seems that I think they had been told, more or less, that John was dead, that what they were looking for was a body. Now, John, he was no angel, and his family have said as much as that. John went wrong in his early years, as so many teenagers do. He got involved in drugs. There's a big the drug culture here in Spain is massive. But this from foreigners, Irish people, British people, Scottish people. I think if all the Brits moved out of Spain, the crime rate would probably disappear, or it wouldn't disappear, of course, but it would halve, definitely. And particularly in the coastal areas, because that's where there's a high concentration of expats. It seems like every 5 minutes I'm seeing a post from the Guardia Civil saying, oh, they've just dismantled a drugs cartel or a cartel and this. And I think, how many are there? It's constant, bloody hell. And they're always arresting criminals that are on the run from Britain or whatever. They always come to Spain, don't they? That's why it's called the Costa del Crime. British people complain about immigrants going to Britain, but in Spain it's the other way around. It's the British people who are criminals. They come to Spain to escape, but of course it's harder to do that now years ago, they would have done it. I know people that have done it, and what they do is they'll rent a place right out in the middle of nowhere. They get a few massive dogs, and they live like this weird, or they live in caves up in the mountains or whatever, because they're on the run from the police, and from Interpol or whatever. And of course, it used to be a lot easier to do that. It's not so easy now, because now we've got technological data. Their phones can be tracked. There's so much more. It's so much harder to do it now. So I think that's why it seems like every 5 minutes on Facebook, the Guardia Civil posting that they've caught another drug baron, or they've broke up another drug gang, or it just seems constant. And I think they are having more success because of technological reasons. Anyway, so that was John. So his family came over. They spent Christmas, and this wasn't last Christmas, it was the Christmas before. John, I think he disappeared in around the November time, was it, or December time? November. And the family all came over along with some friends and things, and they were searching for him, but they were searching in the wrong place, because the alleged killers, of course, the alleged killers of John George, who are Johnny Smith and Michael Malley. Johnny Smith is also from Northern Ireland. Michael Malley was a Czechoslovakian, yet Czech national. They were the two people that were alleged to have killed him, because what very sadly happened is, after the family had been searching for John for 2 months in the wrong place completely, even brought a search team out from Northern Ireland, they were looking in completely wrong place, because he wasn't there where they'd been told he wasn't there. And you can't just search without an idea of where to search. Anyway, John's body was found in a lemon grove, like out in the campo, like out in the countryside, in Rocales, which is near Quesada. If you know the area, it's not far from Orihuela Costa, which was the last place that John was seen alive. The last time he was seen alive, apart from by his killer, of course, he was a phone call, wasn't it, to his dad. He'd phoned his dad, and he was slurring his words. He was showing off a new watch. There were people there with him. Anyway, sometime very shortly after that, John was brutally murdered. He was stabbed in the leg, he was shot in the chest, he was shot in the face, he was stripped, humiliated. Now, whether that happened at the actual lemon grove, we don't know, or whether it happened before and he was taken to the lemon grove. There were drag marks, there was blood, so it looked like he'd been dragged along. Anyway, so that's what happened to John. So his family were phoned by the police with that very sad news. It was it's very difficult for the family. Well, it's difficult, obviously, for anyone whose son is murdered, no matter if he was a bit of a wrong 'un from, getting into trouble when he was young. He wasn't a murderer. And, everyone spoke very highly of him, to be honest. I mean, his family, he's like a bit of the black sheep, maybe, of the family. I don't know how they would describe him. I think his dad, Billy, described him as he was a melter, but he was my melter. So he loved him, even though John could drive him crazy sometimes. He was always on the phone to him. He loved him. You could, absolutely adored him, and all his family did. So they were in this terrible position of being in a foreign country where they didn't speak the language, and trying to deal with getting their son's body organised to get home, and who had done this terrible thing to him. So the two people that were accused of killing him, Michael Malley and Johnny Smith. Now, Michael Malley, the Czechoslovakian guy, let's see if I need to get a picture of him up, don't I? He had gone to the police voluntarily, gave himself up voluntarily. Hi, Heather. Hi, Heather. Nice to see you on here. So, Michael Malley, the Czechoslovakian national, also a father. He's got a little girl, I think. And he was released on bail because he volunteered himself, and it is thought that it was Michael Malley who told the police where John George's body was. So that at least meant that the family could get John back. You know, they took him back home, back to Belfast. They gave him a funeral. And I know it's cold comfort. We always say this, don't we? It's very cold comfort, but it is some comfort. You know, rather than thinking he's lay out in the Spanish countryside somewhere and they're never going to be able to reclaim him. So this is Michael Malley when he was taken into court in Torrevieja. I think people, if you know Spain at all and you know the Orihuela Costa, it's a beautiful place. I was there not long ago because it's not that far from where I am. And I was struck. I hadn't been there for quite a while. And I was thinking it is an absolutely beautiful place. You can see why people love it for holidays. But you don't know what's going on. There's a big undercurrent of crime in that area. Maybe there is everywhere, I don't know. But really, especially, you know, families are out there having great holidays with their kids and that, and they don't know what's happening all around them. It's a shame. But I suppose most holiday areas, especially coastal areas, attract that sort of thing. So Michael went to the police, handed himself in, and he was bailed pending the murder trial. But the other guy, Johnny Smith, and this is Johnny Smith here with the glasses on with John George, he went on the run. And he actually went off to Gibraltar, first of all, with his girlfriend. Oh, look, my things are coming up on there on the Google. He went to, this is Billy George, John George's daddy. He touched all our hearts, didn't he, because with his pleas, you know, please give me my son back, give me my son back. It was very sad. Anyway, so yeah, Johnny Smith went on the run with his, well, she was his girlfriend then, Madison Allen. And the first place they went off to was Gibraltar, where they promptly got married. And that's where they got married. Then off they went to Portugal. They were eventually arrested. He was arrested. Madison wasn't arrested in Portugal, and he was brought back to Spain, and he's in Alicante prison. Now, he was bailed out over Christmas. That €100,000. He put up the bail. He was released just before Christmas. In the meantime, so my God, I have to remember everything that's happened in this case. So there's still no date for the murder trial. It might even be next year. Yeah, you know, justice doesn't move quickly in Spain. It's a shame, but it really doesn't. You know, so it's a shame for the family just having to wait and wait and wait. But anyway, will anyone be left to be tried by the time this case goes to trial? Because in the meantime, Michael Malley was murdered himself up at Ponte Prima near Torrevieja. Again, a place I've taken my dogs to 1,000,000 times for a walk. It's a beautiful promenade there. Yeah, he was found brutally shot. I could have found him. Could have been a more. I mean, I haven't been there for ages. It's quite a distance from me, but sometimes I do like to go there because it's beautiful. It's a lovely beach. It's a lovely walkway that you can walk along, and people are doing their running there or yoga or, until my dogs come along and bark at them and then that disturbs them. But yeah, so it's a beautiful place and that's where he was found, just bleeding to death. Well, he was already dead. I think he'd been shot. So he's dead. So now we've got John George died. Michael Malley was murdered, and the person that's been arrested for his murder, I think he's from Manchester and thought to be a hitman, but I don't know. I haven't heard any details about that for a while. Then the other thing that happened is that Madison Allen, who is Johnny Smith's now wife, now she was only 19 when all this started. She's probably 21 now. She's still a very young girl. She was an OnlyFans model. Let's have a look at a picture of her. Very pretty girl. But, I do feel for Madison. The only reason I feel for her, because she hasn't been very nice to the George family at all. But she's so young, I feel like Madison Allen, she's in a situation. How's she ever going to get out of it? Now she's so far in it. Even if she wanted to get out of it, which I hear that I hear that her and Johnny have split up. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's John. There she is. That's Johnny Smith there, her husband, and as I say, she was an OnlyFans model. Very, very explicit photos, videos, etc. Very pretty girl, but I don't, she's obviously, I think she's got a massive drug problem, to be honest, as well. So I don't know how that's going to go for her future. But anyway, it's her life to live. She's got to make the decisions. So in the meantime, she was then arrested for carrying weapons and drugs, massive amounts of drugs, not just a little spliff, to have a smoke at the weekend or whatever. Massive amounts of drugs, ketamine, marijuana, and she's on bail. She was on bail for that, 45,000 euros. She then had an accident and through all this, she's been on social media, really throwing it in the faces of the George family. She should have, I don't know, but you know what young girls are like, they won't be told anything. She's there all over social media, really almost baiting the George family. So that's I just don't understand why she's done that. But anyway, and then when Johnny was released from prison, they were on the social media, etc. He got into a fight. Then she got into a fatal accident where she ploughed into a car with some tourists in it, and one of them died. So there's another death. So then you've got John George, of course, himself, Michael Malley, the poor guy that Madison Allen ran into. Then one of the other people involved in the case, or before actually, this was earlier on, Dan isn't his name. He had his throat slit while he was having a wee out. He was up at Orwell Acosta in a bar or whatever, and he went out to go to the loo or whatever. I don't know why he went out. And he had his throat stabbed and he nearly died. He just survived by the skin of his teeth. And he was in Torrevieja Hospital for a while, literally touch and go for him. Anyway, he's back in Ireland now, and I think he's cooperating with the police, he's cooperating with the George family. they issued a statement saying to leave Dan McMeekin, alone. He has helped us. He is, helping us out. So, gosh, that's so now the latest. I mean, it's just like there's always something happening, and you just feel. I mean, I'd like to, I wouldn't like to, but I want to say this is going to end badly. But of course, it started badly. It started with the murder of John George. Since then, there'd been Michael Malley was murdered. The poor tourist guy was killed in the fatal accident. Madison's still walking around a free woman. Dan McMeekin nearly died. That's what's happened so far, just in a year and a half or a couple of years. And now the latest thing that's happened, and as I say, I just feel like this is going to end even more badly. Maybe that's the way to say it. It's already bad. Couldn't be worse, really, could it? Well, you think it couldn't be worse, and then it gets worse. And the latest thing is that Madison has been attacked and had her face slashed. So here's Madison, as you can see. She is very attractive. Of course, there's a lot of filters on that photo. But if you look at the photos at the side, look, someone's tried to do a Joker on her. She's been slashed across the face. And of course, her face is her fortune and her body, I suppose. That's what Madison does. She sells her face, she sells her body. That's her career, and well, good for her. I'm not against what she wants to be an OnlyFans model. She's old enough, to do it. She's not a minor, and if she wants to do it, and if she's found a way she can make money, and apparently very good money, well, good. So someone's attacked her when she was on her way home to her apartment, and they slashed her across her face. Well, that'll be deliberate, won't it? Because, as I say, her face is her fortune, isn't it? She's very lucky because not that far from her throat either, is it? There's just this feeling in this case that there is more horrible things that are going to happen. So in the meantime, Johnny Smith is back in prison. So his bail was revoked because, was it weapons charges, or it was something he did wrong? He didn't abide by the conditions of his bail. The judge said he was taking the piss out of the Spanish judicial system. I mean, I was surprised he ever got bail in the first place, to be honest, after he'd done a runner the first time. But he had to surrender his passport, etc. And he had to report to the police station, on a regular basis. Anyway, he blotted his copybook. He got sent back to prison. And lately there's been rumours. Now, again, there are rumours that Madison and Johnny have split up now. That she put some cryptic she's still all over the social media when she feels like it. If I was Madison, I think I'd be trying to keep my head down, not be all over social media, flaunting a new relationship in this dangerous environment that she's, that she's living in. She's living in a very dangerous environment. It's like, is she addicted to the thrill of it all, or I don't know. She just seems so young, and to be involved in all this, and it's all so very violent, isn't it? So anyway, this is what's happened to her. I think if I was Madison, I'd rather be in prison, because let's say with Michael Malley, I said that about him. Michael Malley was let out on bail, and look what happened to him. He got murdered. Madison is always the subject of attacks. So maybe she'd be better off in prison. I don't think I'd be going out the house if I were her, that's for sure. So yeah, it can only, to me, I think it's only going to get worse. I'm a little bit speechless, to be honest. Right, I can see that I can see that David had a bit of trouble with your foot and you've been in a bit of pain. Oh, sorry to hear that, David. Yeah, yeah, it was just me and Heather on Friday. It's because I did it on a Friday rather than a Thursday. Ah, you like this necklace? You like this necklace, Heather? Yeah. Oh, which it's held a message for review here. I think it's that one you've just put, Heather. What's I think is it the word foxy? Oh, honestly, I just do not understand YouTube. I think they blocked that message. It said this message is held for review, or is it David's message? I never understand YouTube. That's another technological thing I don't understand. Nobody's said anything that you should be that anyone should be worried about. And yeah, no, I know what it means, Heather. Don't worry. I'm just wondering if that's why. Why did YouTube hold that message? Did they not like the word foxy? I don't know. I quite like the word. I like to be described as foxy. Listen, I've been called a lot worse things. But yeah, YouTube, honestly, if you saw some of the messages I dig out of hidden messages, you would think, what? You know, because I go into every now and again, sometimes I forget to look. And but every now and again I go into hidden messages and there'll be messages in there and I think, oh, people will think I've ignored their comment or whatever. But you know, they're not I mean, so occasionally there are ones in there that I think, oh, I'm glad they put that in hidden messages. But it's so rare, so rare. You know, most people are respectful, you know, to me and other people, but you do get the odd twonk, obviously, in there. But yeah, never understand YouTube. I just will never, ever understand how they work it out. Now, when I try and show your message, it says another moderator just handled this. Well, I haven't got another moderator, so I don't know what that's about either. Oh, I'll have to bring, what's it back? Nightbot. I'll have to bring Nightbot back, I think. Yeah, they do. They pull comments for the most stupid things, and then other people put things, and you think, why didn't you pull that comment? You know, strange. YouTube is strange. I suppose because it's AI, isn't it? So they can't look at context. I don't know. Maybe it's just because they can't look at context, that just a word comes up and that's it. They don't like that word. I don't know. But no, listen, you put whatever you want, Heather, because I can always, if it does hide it or whatever, I can show it. It's just when I notice, you know. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to tell you about the John George case. This is where we are, and this trial. Their poor family, they're waiting and waiting, and it's probably be next year before the trial. Now, don't forget as well, Michael Malley, the other suspect. So there were two suspects, Johnny Smith and Michael Malley. Michael Malley is dead. So 100% Johnny Smith is going to be blaming it all on Michael Malley. And it may be that it was Michael Malley and not Johnny Smith. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know all the facts because the Spanish police is so secretive. So we've not even got any, we don't know what evidence the Guardia have got or haven't got, or if there's CCTV, or if we just don't know what the case is going to be based on. So yeah, that's where we are. But this very sad, and it is sad, you know, whatever. To me, Madison, I don't understand what she's done. It's wrong what she's done. She's taunted the family, and I know a lot of people are saying she's had karma. But still, to me, it just seems shame that a young girl like this, uh, has got embroiled in this whole situation. And, there's a lot of things she could have done with her life that were different. And now, how is she going to get out of it? And now she's got scars on her face. Now, they don't look too deep. I'm hoping that they won't be deep. But could have been so much worse, couldn't it? Could have been life-threatening if they would have aimed a bit lower for the throat. So this girl, Madison, she's going to have to be looking over her shoulder every minute, isn't it? Every minute. And she's quite distinctive. People know where she lives. She said she won't go back. Well, she can't go back to Northern Ireland because she'd probably be subject to attack there as well. I think if I was Madison, I'd go somewhere completely different, but she probably can't because of her bail conditions. So she's sort of trapped. Yeah. So it's sad all round. It's sad for John George's family. It's sad for Michael Malley's daughter. He was a father. He's got a daughter. It's sad for everybody. This whole case is just awful, isn't it? Awful, awful, awful. There is nothing, no positivity. The only positive thing is that John was found, taken home, buried with dignity, and not just left, in the lemon grove, etc. But his sons have still lost their father. His mum has lost a son. His dad has lost a son. His sister and brother have lost a brother. It's just horrible, the whole case. So anyway, if I hear any more, I will let you know. But that's all really I wanted to tell you about that. And I hope, I wouldn't wish any bad on Madison or anybody. I hope somehow Madison, I don't know what she can do, but maybe she will be able to turn her life around. I don't know. I don't know if she'll even be allowed to, even if she wanted to. That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. I just don't know how she's going to do it though, David, because of her bail condition, she's probably got to report to the court in Torrevieja, on a regular basis. So she can't go too far, can she? But and you know what, that network, the drugs network, I think you'd be really struggling in Spain to hide because they're all connected. They all know everything that's going on in their world. I think she'd be struggling to find somewhere to be safe, but it's a shame, isn't it, really? Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to tell you about. Now I want to talk about Anna and this development in the Anna Kepner case. So this is this poor young girl, Anna Kepner, 17 old, I think she was, 17 or 18. I think 17. I'll find out in a minute exactly. And she went on a cruise, didn't she, with all her family. 9 of them went on a cruise in Florida. And Anna loved cruising. Apparently she'd been on cruises before. She really looked forward to it. She was dying to go on this cruise. And she never got off the boat alive. So while Anna was on the cruise with all her family and all the other thousands of people that you get, on a cruise ship, wouldn't you think you would be safe on a cruise ship? But she wasn't. No, Anna was not safe. Anna was murdered on that cruise, allegedly by her stepbrother, Timothy Hudson. So he's only, is he 16? I need to find out. I'm not very good with remembering numbers, of course. So yeah, he is going to be tried as an adult for the murder of Anna. And there's very disturbing things coming out about, you know, the way he killed her. So he supposedly put her in a chokehold. He sex assaulted her. He then stuffed her body under the bed and covered it over life jackets. And then when their other brother came back into the room, because the three of them were sharing the room, Anna, it was a stateroom, and in that stateroom was Anna, Timothy, and the other brother. When he tried to come back to the cabin, Timothy wouldn't let him in at first. He was probably stashing Anna's body under the bed at the time. And then when he let him in, he just went to bed, not knowing that his sister's body was actually deceased under the bed next to him. So what Timothy was planning on doing, who knows? Was he planning on, you know, pushing her overboard at some stage? Did he know there was CCTV all over this cruise ship? So anyway, the case is being prepared. He's, I think, pleading not guilty. He's still free. This lad is walking around free because he's a juvenile and it's a federal case and they're not sure where to put him. So there's a lot of investigations going on as to where he could be held while he's awaiting his trial. So he's with his uncle at his uncle's house. I wouldn't have him in my house, I'm afraid, if he'd murdered. You know, it seems likely that he did kill Anna. But there are some things that are being said now. So just so you know, that it turns out, and I don't want Anna to think, I don't want people to think of Anna because of this. What we have to remember is that Anna is a young girl, teenage girl, beautiful girl, you know, on holiday, having a good time. And it's rumoured that Timothy Hudson, that he was obsessed with her, you know, and time will tell when the court case comes up if he was. But now these new things that are coming out makes me wonder, this murder jealousy? Because it turns out, it transpires that Anna had slept with another boy on that cruise before she was murdered. And I would say that Timothy Hudson, who was obsessed with Anna, did he find out that Anna had slept with another boy on the cruise and just go into a jealous rage? That to me seems pretty likely. You know, if he was already obsessed with her, did she tell him? Because the stepmother said, oh, they're like the three amigos, they're great friends. Well, were they? Did Anna confide in him that she had slept with another boy or she liked another boy? And did he just go into a fit of jealous rage? You know, that's what I think. I think that is so likely. Did he just lose it? Because what on earth possessed him to kill her on a cruise ship? You know, he's obviously wasn't going to get away with it. He obviously lost his mind in a moment because what did he think he was going to do with her body? How did he think he was going to get away with this terrible crime? But did he just go off into a jealous rage when Anna told him that she'd actually slept with somebody else? Maybe. So let me just read out to you what's been said about it. So apparently, now I just need to give you a bit of a warning here because there's some graphic details. Anna did have SPE insider. And the thing is, she slept with this other boy. So let's see what it says here. So apparently, this is the federal court transcript that's concealed, and it did minute by minute timeline circuit television footage. I'm going to share this. I need to take Anna's picture off for a minute. So is this going to complicate the case? You know, that she had slept with somebody else. Is he under suspicion in any way, shape or form? Don't know. So here's Timothy coming out of his court hearing. So this closed circuit television footage links him to the RAPE and strangulation of his sister. And the tracking data and surveillance video captured him entering the cabin where Kepner was last seen alive, hiding her smashed cell phone. That was the other thing that I haven't managed to tell you about yet. He hid her smashed cell phone in a deck trash can, and he walked past the room after her body was found hidden under a bed. So the prosecutors have argued for immediate detention, but a federal judge deferred his final decision, and he's left the teen on house arrest until he can assess what to do with him. Now, where does it say about... So he's being charged as an adult with first-degree murder and aggravated sex abuse. He's pled not guilty to all charges. I want to find the bit. Yeah, so she went early that night, didn't she? She'd been out with her family, and she said she didn't feel well, and she went back. Sorry, I didn't add it to the stage. She went back to her room because she said she didn't feel well. And that's sadly, he was there, and who knows what happened. So at 7:35 p.m, Timothy entered the room, and he was not seen leaving the room till nearly 3 hours later. At 7:38, so just 3 minutes later, after he entered, she was seen on CCTV entering her cabin, and this was the last time she was seen alive. She's never seen leaving the room after that. At 7:51, Anna's 13-year-old brother entered the room and quickly left, and he reported seeing Anna in the room at this time. At 10:13, Timothy was seen looking down the hallway, appearing to check if anybody was there, before walking out of the cabin. And between 10:23 and 10:49, he was seen going in and out of the cabin 2 more times. 11:21, Anna's brother entered the cabin, and this time he did not see his sister. So it's thought that this time Anna had been stuffed under the bed by now. At 11:31, Timothy entered the room. Then he left and came back at 11:44, and Anna's body was found around 11:24 a.m. the next day, as the ship was returning from Cozumel on international waters. So this is why the FBI are dealing with it, because it was on international waters. Cruise line officials contacted the FBI, who met the ship at the port of Miami on November the 8th. Now, so when the brother, Anna's 13-year-old brother, told officials he went into the room for short periods after dinner that evening. However, on one occasion at 12:09, the brother said that when he decided to return to the room to sleep, Timothy put out his arm to stop him from entering the room and yelled that he was changing. And the boy noted it was weird that all the lights of the cabin were on. And then he said that he sat out in the hallway until Timothy allowed him to enter the room. There's the cruise ship. So they couldn't find her cell phone, but it was later found in the lost and found after a Horizon crew member found the phone in a trash can in the aft of the ship. It was seriously damaged. How Anna's phone ended up in the trash. The FBI began to investigate how Anna's phone ended up in the trash if she never left the room after 7:38. Timothy was seen on CCTV leaving the room between 9:26, November 7th, and returning at 9:48, before leaving again at 9:50, holding something in his left hand. He was seen walking towards the aft of the ship, reaching into the trash bin around 9:52, which is where her phone was found. And by tracking Anna's phone, the movement matched where Timothy was walking that morning. Timothy was seen smoking on deck 11. Anna's phone was found on deck 11. Timothy's phone was later obtained through a search warrant, which didn't show any relationship between him and Anna. Yeah, why did he destroy her phone, I wonder? I wonder why he did that. Why didn't he just throw it over the side? And what was he thinking he was going to do with Anna's body? Was he thinking that at some point, when everyone was at breakfast or whatever, he was going to throw her over the side? But how would he even get her out there? I don't know. So a medical examiner observed irregularities in Anna's clothing that indicated a possible sex assault. Anna was fully clothed, wearing a sweatshirt and sweatpants, but her underwear was bunched up, twisted and folded. She had tiny pinpoint red spots caused by bleeding from small capillaries on her eyes and face. She had significant bruising on her left ear and bruises on the side and back of her neck. The spots and bruises were indicators that Anna was strangled, most likely from a chokehold. She also had SPERM inside her, which determined she was sex assaulted before she died. And so the FBI obtained DNA from Timothy and a person she had sex with while on the cruise. But results from this item had very strong support for the inclusion of Timothy, as the contributor of the male DNA in the mixture. So what do you think? Don't you think that is likely that if she had had sex with somebody else, which, God, she's a young girl, she can have sex with whoever she wants. It's like, she's a young girl on holiday, young, attractive girl. But to me, it makes sense that if Timothy Hudson knew that Anna, did he fly into a jealous rage? Maybe that's what explains. Look at him. He's got that look. Sorry, I know it's with hindsight, but he just doesn't look very nice person, does he? He's got that sort of look. He was obsessed with Anna, apparently. I mean, the stepmother is saying, no, there was no problem between him and Anna. They were like the three amigos, Anna, Timothy, and the other brother. And the stepmother said Anna wanted to share the stateroom with these two boys. But I agree with you, David. The ladies should have been in the same room together. The girls, the stepmom and the girls should have been in the same room, and the father and the boys in another room. Look, if the stepmother and the father wanted to have sex themselves, there's always going to be able to find somewhere to do it. They would go into the room on their own one day or whatever. It's just pure selfishness, isn't it, really? On the parents' part, I think, to put Anna in that position. Whether she wasn't bothered by it or not, I don't know. But it's not, the parents were the ones that were responsible for the safety of these kids. And it seems like they weren't supervised properly. There's some talk about were they drinking. He was smoking. He's only 16. Are you allowed to smoke at 16 in America? Were they given too much freedom on this cruise? Anna wanted to go on the cruise. She was looking forward to it. And as I say, she obviously met some boy on there and they've had sex. And good, I'm glad she had sex that she hopefully enjoyed before she died. And then I think this guy, this Timothy, has he gone into a mad jealous rage when he found out that what Anna had done with the other boy? Makes sense, doesn't it? We'll find out, I suppose, when it comes to the trial. Ah, poor Anna, poor Anna. The thing is, Anna's not coming back, is she? He's still walking around free. He's staying at his uncle's. He's still free. You know? And Anna's dead. And she had all that promise. You know, this is a girl that the world, not only Anna's family have lost Anna, the world has lost Anna because Anna, you know, she was kind and she was intelligent. She was going to join the armed forces. She wanted to be a K9 handler. She had so many plans, you know, positive plans. She was a positive asset to this world. And now she's gone and we're left with the trunk, you know, and all that'll happen with him, probably, if he's found guilty, the state will have to keep him. You know, so she's gone, who would have been a positive influence on the world, and we're stuck with him. Stuck with him, probably for the rest of his life, will be in prison, a burden on the American taxpayer. You know, what's his contribution to the world? Murdering his stepsister. Makes me angry, you know, because, look, you know, we're all here for a reason. We might not know what it is, but you have to try and make some positive impact on the world. We're not all perfect and we'll all do some things wrong in our lifetimes, especially if you live as long as I have. And hopefully I'll be living a lot longer yet, but lots more time to make lots more mistakes. You know, we do make mistakes because we're human, but it's not like the mistakes this guy has made. It takes a lot to kill someone. You know, it's a big thing. It's like not, you know, I've watched enough true crime videos and heard killers talk, and they said it's not so easy as it. You know, you don't just sort of strangle someone and that's it. Within 30 seconds they're dead. It takes a lot of doing, so you have to really mean it. You know, you have to be pretty wicked. You know, especially with strangulation. It's a very personal way of killing someone, isn't it? And I think now, finding this out, that Anna had already had some sort of sex experience with another boy on this ship. I think this twonk just went into a fit of jealousy. I wonder if that was it. And it's like, yeah. So, anyway, just thought I'd update you on that. Poor Anna. Poor Anna. Another young girl. Life snuffed out before it was even begun, thanks to that twonk. Well, anyway, I hope justice is found for Anna at some point. And I wish he was in prison. I mean, the sooner they can get him off the streets, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I can't believe he's still walking free. But the complication is his age, because there are no federal state facilities, juvenile facilities. So they can't work out where to put him. You know, but at the end of the day, does it matter? I mean, are they thinking about his welfare? About where they should put him because they're worrying about his welfare? Probably. Because you know what, sometimes you do feel that the perpetrators get treated better than the victims' families and things. You know, it's all about the perpetrator. You can't abuse their human rights. Well, he didn't think much of Anna's human rights, did he? So, okay, so I wanted to talk to you about that. And now the last case that I just want to sort of catch up on, there's not really, you know, spoiler alert, there's not a lot to say. Nancy Guthrie, well, I haven't covered this for a while. Because to be honest, there isn't any news. It's not news, no new news. There's still a lot of talking about it. There's a lot of arguments between YouTubers. The streamers are still out there and the police are coming and giving them citations. Honestly, this Piedmont County Police Department, if only they would have been a bit more vigilant the night that Nancy Guthrie disappeared in a puff of smoke from her home. Just God, them streamers have only got to turn up there and the neighbours are on the phone to the police. I think the police should say to those neighbours, stop phoning us about streamers. You know, whether you agree with it or not, I'm not saying that I agree with them sitting outside Nancy's house. What I'm saying is, if they want to do it, they have a right to do it. And the neighbours should just, the police should say to the neighbours, look, they're not doing anything illegal. Stop ringing us because we've got proper crime to deal with, you know, that we're not dealing with very well, it seems. So this is Nancy, poor Nancy. This is another vulnerable person. Nancy's vulnerable from the other end of the age scale, from Preston Davy, who was the baby. She was 84. She was vulnerable for her old age rather than young age. And this lady, she went to dinner with her daughter and her husband, Annie and Tommaso, and went to dinner on the Saturday night. Was driven home apparently by Tommaso. Now, we haven't really had proper confirmation of everything. So bear in mind, we're dealing with, what's the word I'm looking for? We're dealing with timelines for Nancy's, you know, disappearance, but we don't know if this CCTV of Nancy or any, you know, camera footage of Nancy entering the house. If we haven't seen because she apparently went to Annie and Tommaso's house, which is literally around the corner. Apparently she went in an Uber. We haven't seen the video of her in the Uber. We don't know what she was wearing. We don't know. We only know that Tommaso apparently dropped her off. The garage door opened and closed. That was thought to be Nancy going into the house. And then, of course, we've got the, you know, keep forgetting about the bloody, I don't forget about it, but, you know, there was the door cam that has been recovered. Very clear picture of this guy, really, when you think about it. But as far as we know, we still don't know who this is. Now, I do feel, to me, I feel like the FBI or the Sheriff's Department or whatever, I do think they know who their suspect is, clearly, because they are not looking for Nancy, are they? You know, the FBI isn't putting out appeals. They did their original appeal, but, you know, they're not doing... and Nancy's family now, Savannah Guthrie and etc., they've gone quiet. They're not doing appeals. That suggests to me, and you know, I don't know what you think, that maybe they do know who it is, or they are pretty certain of who's involved in this. But of course, they're waiting for this DNA analysis to come back. So Sheriff Nanos, Deputy Dog, the Keystone Sheriff, well, you know, we know what we think of him. So there's recently been an interview released, but it turns out that the interview was actually done weeks ago, so there's nothing new in it. But the main thing that he's asking for is patience from the public, because DNA results take a long time. So do you feel, or I feel anyway, and you'll let me know what you think, do they know who this person is? Don't forget, they've also refused help from the United Cajun Army or whatever to search the desert. They've volunteered to search for Nancy's remains. They've said no, they're not accepting outside help. That's strange, don't you think? Why not? You know, here's this organisation offering to search the desert. They might find other missing people. that have never been found. I watched the guy be interviewed, and he said, the guy in the Navy, he said every time they go on a search for people, they find other people, that they weren't looking for. Because, the police will only search for so long and then they stop, don't they? And they wait for a dog walker or a hiker to find them. If they don't find whoever it is they're looking for within the first couple of days, they just sort of stop searching, don't they, normally, unless they've got some information. And missing people are often found by dog walkers or hikers. But anyway, so we've got the Cajun Navy or whatever offering to search, and they're saying no. Sheriff's Department said no. Wonder why they said no. I mean, do they not want the investigation interfering with, because they know what's happened to Nancy, or they think they know, and they're just trying to dot the I's and cross the T's? A lot of people still suspect Tommaso and Annie, and that, I think, is just simply because they were the last people to see Nancy. So Nancy had been at their house in the evening. Tommaso allegedly drove her home, watched her go in through the garage door. So they're bound to be suspects, because though Sheriff Nanos says they're not, he said the family has been cleared and the spouses, but people are finding it difficult to move on from Annie and Tommaso. I don't think they're ever going to move on from Annie and Tommaso until the real culprit's found. Just because the logical person is Annie and Tommaso. Looking at that rucksack that Annie's got on there, it looks a bit like the does it look like? No, it doesn't. So, poor Annie and Tommaso, they are, they're subject of a lot of aspersions cast. Same with Savannah sometimes. Savannah Guthrie, of course. She's the famous sibling presenter on Today's Show, and now she's been chosen to host the Wordle show by Jimmy Fallon. And then there's Cameron, the brother. Now Sheriff Nanos, as I say, he announced that all the family and their spouses had been cleared. The problem with that is nobody believes anything Sheriff Nanos says, because he's said so many contradictory things, and just nobody believes him. So sadly, although really technically the family have been cleared according to him, nobody believes him. That's the problem, isn't it? Nobody believes him. Oh dear. Let's have a look at this article. They're actually, so now, so then the other thing is, there's a lot of animosity between Nanos and the FBI. So I just saw this article. So apparently the head of the FBI is apparently brought it up again just recently. Let's have a look. Keystone Cash reignites the battle over Nancy Guthrie. This is according to the Daily Beast. Doesn't sound very reliable, does it? But anyway, let's see what they say. Just the Daily Beast, just the name of it makes think. So Keystone Cash reignites the battle. So he's pointing the finger at local police for fumbling the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. After being quizzed about the case in a new interview, he raised complaints about local authorities sidelining federal agents during the crucial first days of the search for the missing mother of Today's Show, Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, costing investigators valuable time. He claimed that the FBI offered assistance from the outset, but was shut out by local authorities. So here's Nanos. Yeah, when I look at Nanos, he always reminds me of something out of The Hobbit. Nanos. He says the same thing. Nobody, I've not seen anyone come on any of the YouTube channels and say, oh no, he's a brilliant sheriff, he's brilliant. Everybody's critical of him except him. So is there something in that? I don't know. I don't know him. Maybe he is very competent. I have no idea. But I think he is definitely ego-driven. And of course, it has come out that he lied on his resume. You know, he didn't times, etc. So Patel says, and I agree with you, David, Kash Patel, he's not exactly brilliant either, is he? So I feel like the Guthrie family is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, another thing that came out was that apparently the Guthrie family have paid for private investigators to investigate this case. Again, till it's actually confirmed by the family, you know, it's all a bit of speculation, isn't it? It's on office where we had 150 agents and analysts working on the Nancy Guthrie case to provide intelligence. So remember at the beginning of this case, which has been 4 months now since Nancy disappeared, it was February, wasn't it? End of February. Donald Trump, he said that, you know, they could have, even though Nancy, don't forget, she was very anti-Trump, and did donate quite a lot of money, didn't it, to Missing Children, was it? The Missing Children charity? You know, Savannah did acknowledge all missing people get. And the thing is, along with high profile cases, you get the attention which you need. Stand the neighbours whinging about the YouTubers. It's not as if this case is over. Where is Nancy? You know, the streamers are keeping the case alive. You can say they're doing it for clicks, for views, or do, but they're there. They're talking about Nancy. You would want your loved one to be talked about, wouldn't you? I just don't understand it. It's like the neighbours are trying to pretend Nancy never existed. Anyway, remember he made similar allegations to this when he appeared on Sean Hannity's podcast in May, where he claimed the FBI was kept out of the investigation during the first 48 years after she disappeared. The county sheriff Nanas quickly pushed, said the FBI had been noted immediately. The Bureau's task force was working alongside local investment and night justice. So chilled, director of the FBI making an interview saying this, that, and the other about a tweet or another interview. Why don't they just sit and talk together like men? Grown men, like they're not kids. They're like handbags at dawn, isn't it? All the time. It's pathetic. People in their position, a sheriff, the head of the FBI, acting like bloody teenagers having a hissy fit. Pathetic. And the Guthrie, said Nanos. While the FBI director was not on scene, coordination with the Bureau began without delay. So that's what he says. So it's he says, she says, shoulda, woulda, coulda, all that crap, handbags at dawn, hissy fits, whinging about each other, this about the DNA, did it go to the right lab, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And in the meantime, Nancy sort of got lost in all the arguments. Same with the arguments between streamers. Well, it's none. All that matters in this case is where is Nancy. So apparently Patel said what the FBI is great at is finding a needle in a haystack in a needle in a haystack. Well, they haven't found Nancy. They haven't identified a suspect, well, as far as we know anyway. Carlos was was detained. We had Luke Daly was detained, and that was apparently a massive operation, FBI operation, but nothing came of it, unless he is still a suspect. Yeah, and since then, they were really early on, weren't they? Weren't they in March, in the first week or so? And now we're 4 months down the line, and there's been no other developments. No other developments. Strange, isn't it? Sorry, I'm coming back. Now, how can... This is the question. This is why this case has gripped not only America but the world, is that an 84-year-old woman disappears literally into thin air from her bed. What's the reason? I don't believe in the ransom. I think the ransom notes, that they've not found out where these ransom notes came from yet either. I think they're like a decoy. I think whoever went in there for Nancy, they went in there for Nancy. And the kidnapping notes, etc., they're like a decoy so that people think it's a different reason. But I think when, and I hope it will be solved at some point, this case is solved, I think it'll be somebody who knows Nancy very well. I'm not saying her family, it could be anyone. Someone who knows that house well, knows the area well, they were very confident, they weren't nervous. And I think they went in there for Nancy, but they wanted it to look as if it was something else. To look as if it was a kidnapping. That's my, that's only my opinion, of our theories over this case. Some people think it was a robbery gone wrong. Some people think she was kidnapped by the cartel and taken to Mexico. Everybody's got their theories. And, everybody's theory is as valid as the other one because we don't know. But so I'm just telling you my theory is this is somebody who knew Nancy. Maybe they owed Nancy money and she was asking for it back. Seems like Nancy was quite a kind person. So did she borrow somebody some money and then when it came to the time of paying it back, they didn't have it or they didn't want to pay her back? And did they come up with this as a way of removing Nancy and therefore removing the debt? That's a possibility, isn't it? Or are they angry with Nancy over something? And then, of course, some people think it's because of Savannah. It's like almost an attack on Savannah rather than an attack on Nancy. Personally, I don't believe that, but again, it wouldn't. It's possible, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, Dave. Well, of course, the reward is $1.2 million. That is the reward that's being offered. Combination of the FBI and Savannah and the family, but nobody's come forward. So when people don't come forward for a reward of $1.2 million, that means that the only people who could claim that reward are the people that did it, because otherwise somebody would have come forward. I think personally, $1.2 million. If somebody thought they could come forward and be safe, because of course they might be scared of the perpetrator. Um, then some people are saying that the guy that was at this guy that was at the door, he's just a minion. That there's a Mr. Big who's controlling it all. This guy could even be dead now. Some people are saying maybe he's been removed from the equation. Ah, people are saying all sorts of things, and they will, because we don't know what happened. And everybody's theory is just as valid as the next one, really, isn't it? Until it's proven otherwise. Until we know who did it. Um, Literally could be anyone. So yeah, I was watching. The experts are out talking about it, aren't they? The FBI experts. I mean, ex FBI, ex law enforcement, ex everything. They've all been out there talking about this. And they give their insight. It's in it. But one thing that they've all got in common, because sometimes they say different things. So the problem is these experts that come out and give their voice their opinions. They're different opinions. We'd have one saying, "Oh yeah, it's burglary gone wrong," another one, "Oh no, it's kidnapping," another one, this, that, and the other. So they don't know either. They're giving their theories, but do you know one thing that I think I've noticed that they do all agree on, so you can presume that it's probably true, is this is so unusual. None of them had ever seen a case like this before. Kidnapping, yeah, but kidnapping an 84-year-old woman. The what's the word? The high stakes, because Nancy's soberly. Because if you're planning a kidnappings can go wrong so very easily. So why kidnap Nancy, who was so delicate health wise? Maybe they didn't realise how delicate she was. That's a possibility. But also, don't forget they didn't leave a ransom note immediately. And when they did send a ransom note, if it was them, they sent it to the media, TMZ, the local news outlets. Kidnappers don't do that. They want everything very quiet, kept under the carpet. They'll normally say, "Don't go to the police, don't go to the media." Well, not this kidnapper. He wanted the attention. So that is weird. So all these experts say it is weird. It is weird. Um, and unusual case, and they've never heard of another case similar to this. And nearly every, there's nothing new under the sun, is there? Normally whatever case happens, there's always a similar case somewhere to refer to, but not in this one. An elderly lady. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, she was so nice, she's never done any harm to anyone," but maybe she had done harm to people wittingly, or they imagined that she'd done harm to them. I particularly think it's to do with money somehow, or something. I do believe, this is, as I say, it's opinion. They deliberately went in there to take Nancy and probably to kill her. And then they covered that up with this kidnapping crap. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. So that's how I feel at the moment. Nothing that I've seen or heard experts have heard talking about, nothing has convinced me any differently. I still look at I can't move away from this guy, and I'm sorry if he is innocent or whatever, but this Luke one, I still don't understand why he's changed his appearance so much when he did that interview with the local news station. So remember, he did the interview like this, clean shaven, head shaved, about 3 layers of clothes on for some unknown reason, even though it was 100 degrees. And this apparently was what he looked like just a year before. Curly black hair, goatee beard. And then he changed his appearance so much for this interview. It's strange, isn't it? Strange. So yeah, I'm still suspicious of him, but he was detained. His house was searched, his car was searched. He was not arrested. So, but it hasn't been cleared. Nobody will be cleared. Well, Nanos says the family are cleared, but I don't think they can be cleared. Nobody can be cleared until the perpetrator is charged. How can anyone be cleared? So yeah, it'd be interesting to see as time goes on. I mean, this is where we are. So we're waiting for DNA tests still. Nanos said in his interview, I'm asking for patience. DNA takes a long time, blah, de blah, de blah, de blah. So yeah, when proper comes out, I will be back to tell you about it. And really, even though I've been covering Preston's case, the real reason I haven't covered Nancy Guthrie case is because there's not really been anything proper new to report. You can't just keep going over the same thing all the time. But I want to keep Nancy's name in the headlines, if you like, or prevalent on my channel. So every now and again I will do a little update, whether there's any news or not. If I'm hoping that something will develop, but if not, I'll still come on and just remind everybody about this case. Okay, I think that's it. So I'll say I'm going to split this video into the 3. I'll give you updates on John George, that happened in Spain. That's sort of Spanish crime, but it was an Irish guy. I've given an update about Anna Kepner over there in the USA, in Florida, and an update on Nancy Guthrie in Arizona, in the USA as well. And that's where we are with those 3 cases. I'm not sure when I'll be back now. It might be Monday now before I'm back, but unless anything develops, of course, when Preston Davies' trial continues. So just remind you again about my merchandise available on my Ko-fi shop. You've got that I'm not in the mood for twonks today. Do you know what? I can't wait to get my t-shirt with that on. I'm never in the mood for twonks. Got the, oh God, it's empty. Vicky Marie and a cup of tea. And then these new ones. So the glasses haven't arrived yet, but as soon as the glasses come, if you want to share a bottle of wine with Vicky Marie, true crime and a bottle of wine with Vicky Marie. And yeah, I've got the glasses coming. I'm going to be doing some necklaces, t-shirts. In fact, I think that might be what I'll do over the weekend. Thing is, it's all time, isn't it? Time is a thief. Before you know it, I'll tell you, I am up late these days, and I am up early, and I've still not got enough time. I do have a nap in the midday though. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about all these cases. Thank you for watching me and listening to me waffle on. And just thank you for everything. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. I can't remember if I said hello, lovely lurkers or replay crew, but I think I did. Okay, thank you so much. Take care. Enjoy your morning, your afternoon, or your evening. Bye.